Hello everyone, Chip here. I've been digging deep into Valheim over the past week or so, and while I've been streaming over on my Twitch channel, a couple of people have asked questions, tips and tricks and how can you help me. So I thought I'd build a little list of 5 or 6 tips and stick them in a YouTube video and hopefully help somebody out there, and hopefully you are one of them. I'm not going to waste any of your time with that bullshit intro crap that most people on this website do, so let's get started. So the aim of the game is to eventually defeat the 5 bosses in the game. When you first load into the game, you'll see a black raven that will follow you around. It will give you tips and tricks as you progress in the game, but nothing too sort of helpful. You should, in the stone circle you spawn in, see a red stone. The raven may be on top of it. If you click on this stone, it will reveal the location of the first boss on the map, which you can press M to bring up. I won't tell you any more than that, as I think you should really experience the first boss by yourself. It's really good, actually. Just go over there, check it out, see what you can do, and figure it out for yourself. Placing markers on the map is a really important thing for keeping track of stuff you've been doing, things you've been finding in the world, especially later in the game as you begin to explore more and more of the map. If you're wandering around and you find any point of interest, that being berry bushes, caves, dungeons, any kind of ore nodes, stuff like that, anything you can use as a point of reference or you want to come back to at a later time, you can mark this by opening the map, selecting an icon in the bottom right, and double clicking anywhere on the map. You can then name this marker whatever you want. In this instance, we'll call it cave. Right click removes and left click places a red X over the top. This will help you keep track of what you've cleared, especially useful for dungeons later in the game as you go through there and collect all the loot and kill all the skeletons and stuff like that. When choosing a location for your first house or homestead, there are a few things to keep in mind for later in the game. I would recommend that your first homestead be built either in the mountains or the meadow biomes, as they allow for good animal husbandry such as taming boars and wolves. And it's also important to note that there are a few crops that will only grow in certain biomes, but you will learn this as you progress in the game anyway. Just keep that in your mind. Meadows or mountains for starting is probably your best bet. Now, probably the most useful tip you'll get from this video is that you should craft absolutely everything. Whether you pick up, harvest, cut down, or loot, almost every single item in this game can be harvested. So if you see a plant, a rock, or a tree that you don't recognize that is new to you, be sure to pick up whatever it produces, and if you can't, mark it on your map with that tip number 1 or 2 or whichever it was. All of this has the possibility to unlock new things to craft, and anything you do unlock, you should absolutely craft, because each item has the possibility to unlock some more items and so on and so forth. That's the way that progression works in Valheim. You learn and you progress by doing, very much the same with the skills. On a side note, if you do miss out anything while you're crafting, make sure you don't miss out the bronze nails. Now, you'll understand why when you get them. Carts are very important for late game. Food is one of the most important aspects of most, if not all, survival games, and Valheim is no different. Food adds to your max hit points along with your stamina. You're able to eat up to 3 different types of food at once to fill your slots located in the bottom left of the screen right next to your health bar. You'll see this will increase your hit points as you eat more foods down the line that you'll learn to cook and make and harvest and so on and so forth. When the food icons flash, that means you are ready to eat more. just try out a couple different food combinations, see which one works for you. There's wikis out there if you really want to dig down into the numbers. But I would recommend just learning and playing, because that is what makes Valheim so cool. Just play and eat and learn and stuff. On a slightly food-related note, it's important for when you're setting up your first home to make sure that you leave enough ventilation. Whether that's a chimney or a hole in the roof, being smoked out is not fun, believe me, from experience. So when you set up your first fireplace or hearth, make sure you set it below a chimney or build it outside, whichever you want. But I would recommend building some kind of chimney or ventilation in the roof. I can't get over how cool it is to see an early access title with so much detail. And finally on my list is combat. Now Valheim's combat is very in-depth. There are a range of combat types and abilities such as sneak, blocking, range, parrying and more. Each has its own perks. Different mobs in the game have different weaknesses. For example, skeletons, rightly so, are resistant to piercing damage, obviously. The middle mouse button is often the special move for weapons. So give it a try with whatever weapon you get first. Probably it will be the club, and see what happens. Top tip is with the spear, middle mouse throws it. So that's a fun one. Get your hands on that and give it a go. So there you have it, my very, very, very basics guide to Valheim. I'd love to go more in depth and give you the numbers and all of this kind of stuff. So if that's something that you would like to see, you'd like to see more detailed guides, tutorials, anything like that, be sure to leave a message down below, message me on Twitter, or swing by the stream sometime. Alright, happy hunting, and I'll see you around.